Okay, guys and girls, hello and welcome back. Some of you know what this is. This is a centralising spigot. You need to get it out if you're going to change your flange seal, or in fact, if you're going to go a bit further and pull this off and then replace it for something that you can then fit a standard prop shaft to, because these donuts that fit to the D2 and that are terrible. So anyway, we're going to talk a little bit about a specialist tool, or a specialist tool, should I say, from Fourby, designed by Neil Enzer, and they're cracking. But first, I'm going to tell you, if you don't know, that I actually work for a rather large franchise garage, which deal in trucks. And one thing that we can't do without them, is specialist tools. Okay, we do a lot of repetitive work, however, there are times when you need specialist tools. Now, you see this tool room here, this is packed out with all the modern tools that we need, and I'll tell you what, most of these tools, they are actually worth more than a new Defender. Old hub sockets, yeah, honestly, you need them, and as well as seal drivers and the such like. More seal drivers here, and then of course we've got somewhere around here. Oh yeah, this is for turning the engine over when you're doing your tappets. There's an injector tester here. This is actually quite an old design. We don't use those sort of things anymore. And then of course there's even more seal drivers and the such like. So you can see even here, these are from a bygone day, because the workshop's actually been open nearly 50 years now. And you'll probably recognise this if you know anything about Fourby Tools. That's a holder. Right, so the centralising peg, or the boss in the middle of the rear axle on the D1, the D2 and the Range Rovers that have the donut on, these are a real pain to remove. These spigots are actually tapered, so there's only a little bit holding them in. Land Rover's tool is LRT 51008, which is very expensive, and you can try using heat as much as you like and expand the flange, so you might be able to get the spigot out. Cobble yourself up a socket and a couple of bolts or something, and sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. This one is being very awkward. It will not come out. And Neil has designed a tool which is available on the Fourby site, which will assist us to get this out. And of course we need a flange holding tool as well. LRT 51010, you will need this whichever way, because when you torque up the flange bolt, then you are going to have, or should I say the pinion bolt, then you're going to have to hold it, especially when it's on the vehicle. So what we have is the equivalent here from Fourby. Absolutely spot on, and it is also a universal flange holding tool. In the past, I've made a video showing you how to use a socket, a bolt, nut and some washers, and tried to pull this spigot out, which sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. It is basically Hobson's choice, or pot luck basically. Now, the tool that Neil has designed, this is brilliant. This is a simple design. You have M12 bolts, 3 of, in a machined plate. And the plate is absolutely brilliantly machined, and it's very, very thick. So there's no way of bending this. The principle behind this is using the nuts to push the plate, which is bolted to the spigot. And then basically this will push out the boss, which is interference fit in the flange. Okay, so you can see how this is set up, and it's very, very clever. Okay, so before fitting the tool, what we need to do is tap out the center here. This is M8 by 1.25 thread, and I'm using a second tap here just to run through the thread, take out the corrosion and any crap that's in there. And then we can use this to fit a bolt, and you'll see this shortly. So basically the setup here is that you're fitting your bolts through the flange bolt holes, and you're making sure, especially with the flange holder, you can do this without a flange holder, but it's better to use one. It's less struggle, otherwise you just have to use a spanner on the other end to hold the bolts while you're winding. And yeah, basically you secure the center off here. Okay, so the plate is now affixed to the spigot. And then what we do is we wind the nuts. Now the nuts are the ones that are pushing or winding the thread to push out the plate. Now you want to do this evenly, i.e. like a quarter of a turn on each one, or 2 flats or whatever you like. And then just keep going until it pulls it off. And you can see this has come off. And I'll tell you, this one was a quite hard, I can't use a swear word here, but this was very difficult to come off. But you can see here that it's come off and it's pulled it, and it's hardly damaged the threads on the nuts even. The center one here, I've actually put a 10.9 tensile strength bolt there, but you do get a bolt supplied with the kit anyway. So basically, here we go. I'll just show you the threads on these. They're not even damaged. Okay. This is a brilliant idea. Mr. Inza certainly has got the right thing here. Anyway, the center bolt needs to come out. Now, if you're clever enough to have one of these, then obviously you don't need a holder. However, if you're using a breaker bar and a 15mm socket in this case, you are going to need to use a universal flange holder. Okay, so this has a dual use. Especially with Land Rovers, you're going to have to take your diff flanges off, your transfer box flanges off at some point to replace seals. So this holder is very, very good. You can see how easy it is. Okay, so yeah, I'm giving you a bit of a sales blurb, and I do like these tools. Yeah, obviously I've got a battery gun and I can just whiz this off, but if you don't have these sort of tools, then you're going to have to find alternative ways of doing things. Now, the bolt is removed, the flange holder, absolutely brilliant. This will do all Land Rover flanges for these type of diffs and transfer box and the such like. And yeah, okay, we've got the flange off. I can then change the seal and do what I need to do with this. Okay, Land Rovers are not the best for stopping leaks. It's mainly because the seals get old, and you do need to change them sometimes. Nice little smell of EP90 there. Right, so what I do here, you could use your prop shaft bolts to fix onto the flange here. And then like this, I've actually I've used a modified kit here. And basically, so what I'm doing is just now nipping this up. Land Rovers say that on this specific diff, the preload here is 100 Newton meters. So I'm clicking it off at 100 Newton meters. Depending on what diff you use, then you're going to have to check the workshop manual for that specific diff, because there's a few different ones. Okay, so the flange is on. I can then, well, I mean, it's obviously on the workshop bench, but if this is on the vehicle, I could then go ahead and fit a solid prop shaft. So this one is a biatch to remove, and these tools are the nuts. Seriously, they are really, really good. So check them out. They're on the Fourby's website, and of course, Land Rover Toolbox videos do get a little bit of money for each one of these sales. So it's helping us to help you, to help yourself, to help each other in the community. I'll just say that I actually cut my finger while doing video filming. I actually don't know how I did it. I think I'd slipped on a spanner or something. I didn't feel it. I just noticed I was bleeding. Anyway, there's a bit of masking tape, quick repair, tie it off so the bleeding stops, and carry on. That's the way we roll, don't we?